What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fi and Eric Sheets-Haber. We're going to be talking through this 3-game NBA slate, and well, we got some shoes to fill. We created our own shoes to fill. We were going to have to figure out a way to take one down tonight because we've got back-to-back winners here, and unless one of you guys wants to take it, hopefully one of our site members can win it if we don't. But yeah, it's been a great NBA season, and my biggest takeaway from last night before we jump into your stuff, Sheets. I thought that I actually felt good about first of all, when your takes on the games are right, it always feels good to be right about that. I thought Houston would blow out OKC, and they basically did. I'm sorry, would blow out Golden State, and I thought that Cleveland would what's it called, would keep it close. Miami would keep it close with Cleveland, and in which case Hero, who was 3% owned on FanDuel, by the way, on a 3-game slate. Hero was great, but would have to be the reason, and all those things led to actually working out pretty well. From my and then Jalen Green was okay. What's the way that OKC wins in a blowout? Either Şengün or Green goes completely crazy because they're the big offensive weapon. So that was those takes actually stood up pretty well, and I've got some more to get into tonight. But I did want to throw that out there that I thought it was pretty helpful for me, at least in terms of the way I built and. Yeah, that's what I got.
Well, you know what? So let's get into the. I mean, we haven't had like NBA news in a while, and it's so funny what qualifies as news nowadays. But now you have the backup center for the Pistons out.
Yeah, he was out last game too. So it's nothing different. I wouldn't adjust anything especially. Okay. I mean, I would let the projections do their thing. But the thing that people might not do is because Asar Thompson had a bad Jalen Brunson with this foul hunting thing they got to figure out a way to stop this nonsense. Some of the fouls were just egregious calls, and it's weird because all of these series have been incredibly physical. But for whatever reason, these stupid calls on this foul hunting thing that they're supposed to have corrected is what got Asar Thompson fouled out of the game last time in 20 minutes. So I would not worry about Asar Thompson. I mean, yeah, he could foul out again. I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm going to be well higher than the field on guys on that play, for example. And by the way, he was like, what was he, like 70, 80% owned last time when Isaiah Stewart was out. And now we're going to get him at, a lot less than that with the same situation where he's going to be the beneficiary, as well as Schroeder being a pretty significant beneficiary as well. Those are my main takes of what we do with the Isaiah Stewart stuff.
Yeah, so it's not just I didn't realize that Stewart was out before, which is because I remember I watched when I went to the game he was in, so I guess he set the last game.
Yeah, he set the second game.
So you don't think I was gonna think that Paul Reed might show up just as being a pure backup center. I mean, but I guess the Knicks don't really play that big anyway.
Well, they play pretty big. There's just no reason to it could be Paul Reed, but he had more than the opportunity in the last game and did absolutely nothing.
Right.
And by the way, that was with Asar Thompson fouling out. So their small ball
right.
So he even should have had more of a benefit. He played 11 minutes. I think he'll probably be around there again. And I think it's going to be I think it's the other. I think the one who benefits are Schroeder, Beasley. You could argue for Beasley. I don't. But really, it's just the guys who are in. I think it's a boost to Duren. I think it's a boost to Asar, and I think it's a boost to Schroeder the most. Those are the three that I'm just going a little higher than the projections have them. Nothing crazy, but just like a point or two higher than the projections have them because all those plays are going to look pretty good to anyone anyway. And I think they're really, really strong plays.
I'll tell you though, if the Knicks were smart, I mean, they would just. Well, they probably would do this anyway. But I don't know. I would go after Duren with Cat.
He just doesn't play in the post, Cat, that much.
No, I know that. But let him drive in or whatever.
Yeah. It's a good point. I mean, and he is a guy who can get himself in foul trouble, and so those are my other takes. How to get different. This is a pretty easy slate to get different, actually, for a 3-gamer. This the way that Cat has played so far in the postseason will make nobody play him. Well, actually, he played great in game one. The way he played
amazing in game one.
Yeah, sorry, he was great in game one.
Well, in the second half.
I mean, he's projected like Saberson's got him at 7% ownership, and he and Brunson are basically the same price and projected almost the same, and Brunson's going to be 23% owned. And yeah, you could argue the center position because of Jokic and all that, but I think that Cat is a great guy to take. Again, I bumped his fantasy point projection up 2 points, and we'll see where it goes. But my takes on these games, I think this Knicks in Detroit is the one I'm having the hardest time pegging of the series, because I did think it'd be competitive, but I thought the Knicks would win the series in, like, I don't know, 5 or 6. And Detroit has really looked good so far, but I think the Knicks probably win. I'm going to play, my lineups as if the Knicks are going to win a close one. And even if it's not, we even know if it's like 15 points late, they'll do the same thing OKC did. They're not going to, like, pull out everybody. They're going to leave everybody out there as long as they possibly can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if I had to put a lean, I would like the Knicks here against the spread.
I do too.
And I would go right back. I'd go right back to Cade for openers on the Pistons, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's sort of like, I think Cade is one of the guys who you like would plug into a cash game. He's probably the most logical spend up because of the pricing. But then when you look at all of the pricing for the spend ups, and by the way, I know Jokic has had 2 pretty pedestrian games for him, but like getting into the spend ups, his pedestrian games, he put up 67 and 65 and yet has a median projection of 62, not in a must win, but a road game. I think that should be higher and closer to 65 personally. So Jokic, I'm going to end up overweight the Denver guys. I'm going to end up overweight the OKC Memphis game, and I'm going to be overweight Towns and Thompson. Those are my main things.
What do you think again of the what's going to be the very chalky but maybe necessary Alex Caruso?
Well, I don't know if he's going to have a game like he did the other time. That was a little crazy. Look, he's one I'm not particularly touching. Here's my hot take, and look, this is going to look stupid, and you can play it back to me tomorrow. Everybody can say you're an idiot, whatever. That's fine with me. I think that Memphis wins this game, and I think they win it. I don't want to say handily, but I think what Memphis minus 9.5, I think is like 20 something to 1 at home in a playoff game. I could see it happening. I think this is the only game they'll win in the series, but I'm making my bold prediction is that Memphis wins and does it by a reasonable margin.
I will tell you this, by the way, relevant to the Caruso thing.
Mm-hmm.
You won last night, but I didn't do that much right last night. But the one thing I did do was tell whoever was listening to not play Ty Jerome.
That's true.
And I think that it's not exactly the same, but I think fading Caruso might be something cool you can do. He was pretty chalky yesterday though, and he just all fell into his lap. You know what I mean? Like, it was perfect. He's going to be, I think, really, really chalky again. And for all the reasons that you were kind of like cautious on him last time, and the reason why I lowered him last time, those reasons haven't changed.
I agree with all that. The only thing I think is that I think that the field has gotten sharper, or the projections, because his projection is 2 points less than it was in the last game going in. And his ownership is not looking like out of control high. And partly it's because he was efficient in the minutes, but like Cason Wallace didn't play that few minutes either.
How many did he play? Remember, I bumped him up. I forget how much did he play.
By the end, the minutes are kind of irrelevant because the blowout angle a little bit. They keep shaying them out there. Yeah, Cason Wallace played 24 minutes.
Let me tell you something. You give me 24 minutes on him at, what is he, 3K? What the hell is he?
36, yeah.
And
Caruso played 22 minutes, by the way. So 2 games now, Cason Wallace has played more minutes than Caruso in each game. So that is something.
I think, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And bump Cason Wallace and reduce Caruso. So I'm actually, at least last build I did, I'm actually still getting a ton of him.
Yeah, and I haven't finished my builds because I've been trying to tweak. I was waiting for this stuff, and I'm trying to tweak stuff. But like, I like that idea, and that is exactly what I did. I bumped Case and Wallace up to 16 fantasy points, Caruso down to 19. I could argue for going even a little higher on Wallace. And by the way, Isaiah Joe belongs in that conversation as well.
Ooh, that's interesting.
And he's going to be the lowest owned of all of them. It's just, if he gets hot, I don't think they're going to be quick to pull him off the court. He played 19 and 16 minutes the first 2 games. These are not nothing. You're going to need some value if you wanted to play the guys. But I think the most interesting place to get different, and again, gives you late swap options, because Michael Porter Jr. legitimately got hurt in the last game. That was for sure. He definitely was banged up. He looked hurt. I think there's a very real chance that he may not play. Now, overweighting the late game seems to be the smartest thing to do to me for that reason, because Westbrook will look like the best play on the slate if he's out, if Porter Jr. is out. Everybody else on Denver's starting lineup will get a giant boost, and Braun, Gordon, Murray, and Jokic. And then it brings in guys like Jalen Pickett and Peyton Watson. And these last 2 games are close enough to each other. We'll probably know the Porter Jr. news. So I think that it's pretty smart, outside of maybe, my take of the Karl Anthony Towns and the, Durant and Thompson might be hard to avoid, but I think you want to try to be backloading if you can. That's just my take.
I'll tell you, I don't think Thompson's going to be that jammed.
Yeah, I don't think he is either. That's why I'm bumping him up.
I'm gonna figure this out one of these days. So I keep forgetting. So is your phone alarm going off, or is it not?
Not right now.
So there's no sound coming out of any of your devices that's near the computer.
Nothing near me.
Dang it! Fudge. This is what's happening. Okay, maybe some people troubleshoot this for me. So I lost an AirPod like 2 weeks ago. Can't freaking find it. I already bought another one. Okay, but every once in a while I hear that freaking beep 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 like go off, but it's only when I'm talking to you on this computer, and I'm just trying to think if maybe somewhere in this office that other AirPod is calling to me somehow. But it's because you're telling me it's not, that sound is not coming from your.
Don't you have a thing you don't have a Find My? You must have it somewhere on your. They must have it.
No. No, but why am I only hearing it when I'm doing a podcast with you? That's a good question.
That is weird. I don't know, but there's definitely nothing going on this side of things that I can see. I had the watch drop down, like as I was like peeing, and then I was gonna get.
I know you told me that. That's great.
That whole thing, and then I could hear it beeping for like through the plumbing for days.
It was like the Seinfeld when the Phil Rizzuto thing was like buried into the cement.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So I just like updated some projections, if that helps anybody with anything. But I think again, this something like what you're saying is kind of called for, just to make some stand, to do something. You know what I mean? Like to say, you know what, I don't really feel like playing that much Caruso, or I feel like playing more Asad Thompson or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of roll with it, I think.
But I do think you want to be back. I think the backloading is really wise, because if Michael Porter Jr. is out, it's a different slate. And because of the way the projections work, and we know that most sites do this, you're gonna see Michael Porter Jr. I mean, his projected ownership on SaberSim is 1% right now, and he's a reasonable price. He's not a bad price. So, but I think if you bump he and Westbrook and Jokic up in general, and maybe you could argue for all of Denver, but I just think the idea is, I'm doing so much of it with Memphis already and OKC that I think I'm going to end up being higher on the late games and just have to sort of deal with whatever happens in the early games outside of Asar Thompson, Schroeder. I'm sure I'll get to some Cunningham, but I don't think it's a must play for me, because that later information I think is that important today. But it's hard to say Cunningham's not going to score 50 plus fantasy points. It's a tough fade, to be honest with you. I don't really know his path for failing exactly. They don't really have like another answer. I guess it would be Beasley getting hot. That's another one you could take a shot on early. But overall, I definitely think the idea is to try to delay.
And this is, I mean, I think you think there'll be backlash against Brunson. You think they don't call his fouls today?
Maybe. I don't know.
So let me see if anything changes. No, nothing really. So now after running these, what am I getting? Ooh, okay. Not as much Caruso in this iteration.
Okay.
I'll tell you this. You know who I'm not getting that much of either. Oh, this is pretty cool. I think I want to keep this. I'm also not getting that much Cade. Actually, I'm under on Cade. You know what I'm getting? I think you might like this.
What's that?
I'm getting 92% John Moran.
I love it. I'm in on that one as well. They made all the studs affordable, right? So I'm about to see where I'm at, and I am, because I'm making some changes, I am tightening up the min salary. I don't think that there's any way I'm leaving 6,000 on the table on this slate.
Now, would you be getting anything like that?
I don't think so, but occasionally, but if I decide later I want to throw 5% of somebody in, then it could just mess.
It might, yeah, and it might. That's right.
But if I change the projection, theoretically, it shouldn't do it that much. If I'm only making 1 or 2 point changes on the projection.
That's true. Yeah, so I'm not like 100. I mean, I'm not really locked in that. And so this is what I did, just so you guys know what I screwed around with. So I didn't want the 92% Morant, so I just went like some more min uniques. And so I'm getting a lot of Morant, a lot of Duran, that I think is a good play. Pippen, I'm getting. Look at all this Memphis. Let's go.
Yeah, I think Memphis is actually going to be like, people will be surprised at. Yeah, I've got 97.5% Morant right now.
That's right?
I guess that's what happens.
What's the score in that series? 2-0?
Yeah, I mean.
No, I mean they always, the home team always comes out down 2-0 playing well.
But what's it called? OKC was like, they were like, I don't know, it was like minus 200 to sweep. Like they were such a huge favorite. I haven't seen a team favorite like that in a playoff series in a while. It was like such a sure sweep to everybody. I like Duran. I've got 72% Duran, 86%.
Yeah, I like that.
Scottie Pippen Jr. I don't think I need that much Scottie Pippen Jr. That's a little bit. Wow, SaberSim has really bumped up Scottie Pippen Jr. compared to you and Goldies, and I'm going to trust your guys a little bit more than I am SaberSim's on that one.
Is he like questionable? Is he like questionable somehow? Or I mean, not him. Is anybody on that team questionable somehow?
No, we have Brandon Clark and Jalen Wells out again, which we knew.
Brandon Clark's been out like the whole year, right? I mean, whatever.
No, but he was out at the end of the year. He actually played more of this year than I think people think. Well, I guess he missed quite a bit of time actually. I also think it's worth speculating that Zach Edey may lose minutes. Now, does that mean Marvin Bagley? Or more likely, does that mean like we're going to go small and play more Concher and Luke Kennard? I think Luke Kennard is a good tournament play for what it's worth. It's hard to get there in builds, but I don't think it's a bad tournament play. And
what kind of world are we in where it's hard to get to Luke Kennard?
It's hard to talk yourself into it. Well, but okay, so he played 12 minutes in the first game, and he played 17 minutes in the second game. They obviously played much better in the second game than they did the first game. We could see more minutes out of him. And all it takes is him making like literally his first 3, or let's say his first 2. He's going to be on the court some because they need shooting. So I don't know. That's my take anyway. Do you have any luck in the baseball?
I was in good shape, but I needed that pitcher for San Francisco.
Oh.
Yeah, I had a bunch of fades of the pitchers. I had some of the other stuff, and and I was like 16 points behind, like most of the guys. And then Colorado kind of stalled on me near the end.
Yeah.
No luck for me.
I even made the good fade of like fading Minnesota and the other one hitting both Minnesota. Unfortunately, that's bad for us that they called the game. But Minnesota and Chicago hitting, but playing the pitching, because knowing the game was probably going to be shortened because of the weather.
Right.
So that actually worked out really well, and Roth nailed that one. So this is a good question from High Power. If Memphis wins, who's it on the back of? And the simplest answer would be Ja. The tournament, well, actually, it's not even that much of a tournament play because he's so cheap. He's going to be owned. I think Ja would be number one. Jaren Jackson Jr., Bane, then Aldama. That would be my order of how Memphis gets there. Now, look, I'm not saying that if Memphis loses tomorrow, you can come laugh at me. You're not going to look very smart doing it. I make a bold prediction. You know what I mean? It's like when I predicted that.
What's the spread? Like 8? I mean, it's not a big deal.
They're down by 10.
You're a 10-point home underdog. What kind of country we in? Okay.
Sheets. I actually think that there was rumor. I mean, the other game was like the highest spread of any game this season. Was the playoff game?
What was
Memphis
the spread?
Completely fell apart.
All right, this is Bobby. This is freaking bullshit. Because if you're telling me that
there's nothing happening on my end, I promise. I'll shut my
no sound coming up, then my freaking. That'd be so awesome if I actually found this freaking thing. I'm gonna post it on Twitter if I find this freaking AirPod.
Nika says that you can find it on your phone using MBP, but I don't know what that must. He must know that you're using a what's it called? Samsung.
I have an Android.
Or an Android, yeah. There's got to be something. There's got to be something we can do here. Boy, Jokic getting less than 10% ownership. I understand the pricing's tight, but there was a time to get him to get like 80. This feels pretty much like the time.
You playing the FanDuel baseball slate or DraftKings or anything like that, or no?
No, I didn't play any of the baseball. And my takes are pretty much the same for basketball, but I haven't finished my builds yet. Boy, I really went high on the jaw thing, I guess. Guess that's what the story is, as you say. Let's see. Did Goldie update his things? I'm just going to double check. Oh, you did.
I did.
All right. So what else? Yeah. So my takes are Clippers, Knicks, and then Memphis, and then upset. But I do think that Clipper line is a little. They're 5.5-point favorites. That's serious. This feels like every game could come down to one possession. That's what it's been so far, and I wouldn't be surprised. The only thing about Joe, and I agree with Brendan, because as I was saying, it does feel crazy that Jokic is so low owned. But when you look at for $2,200 cheaper, you've got Cade, who is basically like the Jokic role. Like you know. Cade had a terrible game 1, played really poorly, and still had 46. Had 56 in game 2. It's hard to believe Cade at 9,400 doesn't get. It's just hard to believe he doesn't get 50 more often than not here. And Jokic, you probably need 70 for him to be what you want, because you're sacrificing so much by paying 4K. But can Chris Dunn have an outlier game? Absolutely, Chris Dunn can have an outlier game. That's the value piece that you add later, for later on, and then you adjust it along with everything that's happening. Actually, I'm going to do that as I look back at it. Okay, let's see. Let's do done. And you got some time. You're going to know what happens in the first game before you do anything. So that's good to know. That's good to have. I like Dunn better than I like Caruso by a lot. I hope you're right, Brendan. I know Sheets doesn't, but you should go if you can go, Brendan. It's going to be crazy in there. They haven't had a playoff game in forever. Tomorrow's slate. I just have no interest in talking about that. I have no idea what that means, Cam. I would not be looking at tomorrow's baseball slates until we do a show tomorrow, probably. All right. Anything else? Talk about, guys? Any other questions that are pertaining to this thing or thoughts? Happy to weigh in on everything. We got a bunch of people watching, which we appreciate. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff. Also, to use this as a reminder, you can use the trials again if you've used them. We've got an awesome new stuff. I did a show earlier with James McCool from PayDirt, and we have partnered with them, so we have all their stuff on our site as well, along with all the SaberSim stuff, along with all of mine and Sheets and Brandon Cruz and Goldie's and everybody's content. Rody's doing his playbook every day for baseball. So I think it's a great time to join if you want to join. I think we got to what it is. I would
and the premium content includes finding my AirPods.
Yeah, we can find Sheets' AirPods. This is what we come here for. Is we're gonna try and find
watching Sheets struggle. Watching Sheets struggle is always
And also, like, the thing is, if you lose them, you better you gotta try to buy a new pair quickly before they
No, I totally hear. No. I already bought a new pair. That's fine.
Oh, you did? Okay.
No, this is like pure curiosity.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna find this. I totally hear something. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna post. Wait, no.
Why does it?
It's gotta be here somewhere because I hear it. I totally hear something.
All right. What do we have? Let's see. I don't think we're going to see anything different starting lineup wise unless Porter's out. I really feel like we're supposed to do more with this later game. I think I'm going to just bump up everybody.
All right, I'm going to go. I got to go make it to dinner. I will see you later.
All right, sounds good. And guys, I'm probably going to get out of here pretty soon as well. I don't really have a whole lot more to talk about this slate. Love hanging out with you guys. But join us, and hopefully we'll make some money together. Hopefully we can go 3 nights in a row. Sheets, then me, then one of you guys, one of the site members, one of the viewers, take it down. We would love to share in the playoff wealth with you guys. Anyway, good luck to everybody tonight, and